So we can say that simply iterator, we can say that what this fruit, it is a list. So list is what list in Python, list comma, tuple comma, and set comma, dictionary. These are all what data structures. Okay. These are what collection data structures. These are all are collection data structure to store multiple values. To store multiple values. These are what non-primitive data structures. Non-primitive data structures. These are collection data structures. Data structures and algorithms, I told you that they are used to store multiple values. They are used to store multiple values. Okay. Here all are string values I have passed. So these are iterable objects. You can say that iterable objects. Iterable objects. What do you mean by iterable object? This means this list is a iterable object, so we can travel through all these values. Either by creating a loop for loop. So one more way we can travel through for loop. We can use for loop to travel means you can iterate through, travel through list. What is our list? Fruit list. Travel through fruit list. So now use for loop here for I in list fruit. Now come down here, print I, okay. Values of fruit list. Okay. Values of fruit list. Now you run this code. So values of fruit list, papaya, apple, banana. Okay. We are also getting by iterator. These values we are getting through creating by iterator. But these values we are getting through what? Your for loop I have used. In previous sessions, we have studied for loop. Okay. Put is equal to our separators here. Okay, whenever you run this code, okay, you are getting all these values. So these are values are by for loop. These values are by iterator. So now, if you, as I told you that this is a list. What is that list? List is what? Fruit is a list. It is having multiple values. So this is called one data structure, collection data structures. Data structures, I told you many times, collection data structures, collection data structure to store multiple values. Fruit is a list, so it is a collection data. So why it is having collections? Collection means many values. So now suppose x is equal to 5. So what happened? What do you mean of this? It is a non-primitive data structure. X is equal to 6 means this is an integer value. Integer value x is equal to having 6. So y is equal to 10.5. It is a float value. It is a float value. Next is what? Name. It is a string. So string has multiple values. So multiple characters. So string never be a primitive data type. So here boolean name is equal to true. So this is a boolean value. So we are storing in every variable only one value. So these x, y name use it to store single value. So now we can say them as what? Now complex cm comp is equal to 4j. So 4j. These are, we are storing only single. These are called primitive. Primitive data. We are using comment here, primitive data type. Primitive data type. Okay. So now primitive data type. So these are also data structures. Primitive type data structures. Because we are storing only single values, but here fruit is a list, it is able to store multiple values. That's why they are called collection data structures of non-primitive. Non-primitive. And non-primitive, under this, these are linear. Linear, under non-primitive, two types are there, linear, non-linear. So linear, we are storing the value sequentially in a list. So that's why these are linear. So try to understand that. So one iterator, how to access the values of a list. These are countable, three values are there. I have tried to access them. Apart from that, I have used the for loop also. So now if I change the values, so list can be used to store multiple values. Here only string values, but we can store mix values. If you want to change this as a mix values, change it as mix, because I want to change, I want to use all the mix values here. This is an integer, this next 10.5. This is a float, then 4j. This is an okay. So one string, one integer, one float, one complex, and one, that is what, one bullet value. One more string. How many values countable? I told you that 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 values are there. Now, this list, why it is called list? Because square brackets are used in here. So this mix is a list. It is used to store multiple values. It is like an array in Java. Okay, in Python, special, there is no any arrays there. Lists will be used to store as a array to store multiple values or same data types. Okay, here I have used different data types. Now, see, if I want to get all that values, you need to mix, you need to change this fruit as, because mix. Okay. Now, next, you will get all the values here, fruit. There is no any fruit. You have changed that name as mix. You change this as mix. Okay. Next, values of fruit list. Okay, I. Now you will get all the values. You run this code. Understood that? Because we are now getting all the values, different values. Okay, here different values. List is used to store different values. Now you come down. One more thing I want to use here. So here, string also can be iterable. The string can also be iterable. Try to understand. So string, it is an object, but string is part of non-primitive data structure. So can also be used iterable. So string, create a string, fruit is equal to banana, string banana. So now I can I can go through all these values by using a for loop. For I in fruit. Fruit. Now you print bracket. Okay, pass I here. Now if you, before this, if you use the string value in values, value is equal to, no, you will get all the values of fruit, banana, one by one characters. You will get all the one by one characters. You are getting all the values one by, means for loop will be used to access values. You can means you are navigating through all the value characters of one by one. String has the characters. It is a text type of data. So sequence of characters is a string. So you will get all the characters one by one. But now I am using iterator here. Use iterator to values, get values of fruit. Fruit is what? Fruit is a string. Fruit string without loop, without for loop. So for this, I need to use word this fruit, create a variable that becomes what? Yeah, it becomes what? Iterator, fruit iterator, iterator of underscore fruit, because this is the iterator of fruit. Okay, and you assign what this iter fruit we will use. You need to use iter method in bracket, pass the fruit as a parameter. Now you print, ask for print next method, then that object iter now underscore fruit becomes what? Now this in iter underscore fruit becomes what? Your iterator. It becomes iterator. So why it is given is getting, we need to keep bracket here. Now iter underscore fruit becomes your iterator. So it is an object, it is having all these values one by one. You can access them. So next method. So if you want to get all them, you need to use one by one. Otherwise, you will get only one value. You will get only, see, only you are getting only one value. If you want to get all that values, you need to use copy this one, copy next one by one, paste. You use paste one by one, then you will get, you run this code, now you will get all the values one by one, banana. But I'm not getting all the values, BANA only. So then what do you mean of this? I am getting only banana. So you want to get all the values, you need to use next method again and again. So this is the way to get all the values of a string without using of your for loop. Here I have used for loop, get all the values one by one. So rather than I can also create an iterator. That is the way. Okay. So next